don't use it, then you lose it, baby. So use it in the dark. Use it in the deep. Use it when you're scared. Use it when you're broken. Because if it's all you got, you don't want to look back. You don't want to live your life thinking, what if I had tried? Baby, I stayed here and I tried. I put up a good fight. Fight of faith. You thought you had me? You thought I was down for the count? But you forgot. I'm not just doing this for myself. This blow is for the next generation. This one's for the next guy. I'm busting down the door on restriction. I'm busting down the door on discrimination. I'm busting down the door on gentrification. We're up in here to do this. Use your voice. That's the weapon. And keep striking. That's the arrow. Every episode, every podcast. Of course, I.GO wants to start eating his kibble right when I start pacing the room, because he knows what time it is. It's time for me to record. It's time for me to stream, for me to podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the second season of The Rhetorical Sake. About 2 weeks ago, for 2 days, I remember my Aunt Lois, she had a terminal illness, and we were riding to her sister's funeral. Oh no, I think it was her husband's funeral, and she was so doped up on the meds, she was in a blissful state. They made sure she was comfortable, and outside of Atlanta, Georgia, Roswell, and she said, the doctors say I'm what they call a dead man walking. And she started chuckling to herself, and then she said, yeah, actually, I guess it'd be a dead woman walking. And she started laughing even harder, and that is probably one of my last memories with Lois. There's something about that moment, too, when you know, it's like you don't think it in your frontal cortex, the words aren't streaming through your head, but you know in your gut, this is the last time I'm going to see this person. Or I just find that fantastic. I find that very awesome, how we can remember the last times. Even though, had they not passed, had they not died, had we anticipated seeing them again on the real, then, maybe that memory wouldn't have sustained itself. So, in any case, for 2 days, I was a walking time bomb. Like, I was literally a walking dead man. I went to work, got a great client, and at the end of the day, I just felt this pain in my top left pec. Below my clavicle, above my nipple, just pain. Now, heartburn and digestion I've had in the middle of my chest, my stomach, sometimes it feels like it's your heart because it felt like it was in the middle, right behind my sternum. But this was new. And it wasn't too sharp. It was just a very dull aching, radiating over and over. It would subside, got off work, got some food, maybe cooked, walked I.GO, maybe stopped by the park on the way home, and I'm in bed and it comes back right before I go to sleep. I cannot sleep for more than 15 minutes at a time that night, and not necessarily due to the pain, but I was having nightmare after nightmare. And I will describe this ongoing dream. Same setting, different protagonist. I'm the protagonist, or different antagonist. I think that was for a reason. I think that was my body not allowing itself to shut down and die. I think that restful sleep may have induced something I was not prepared for, that I wouldn't survive. So I wake up the next morning. The pain's not there, but as soon as I sit up, pain comes back. And my neck's tight. Now, my neck gets tight on both sides. Don't get me wrong. I have chronic neck and back pain from getting hit by this drunk driver, white dude, Newport Beach, 7 minutes after I leave an AA meeting. I had 5 months sober. I get hit by a white guy driving a Jaguar in Newport Beach while I'm sitting at a stoplight. He's cruising like 50 miles per hour. Has no idea. Just, I come to on the other side of the intersection. And y'all know, had it not been for my family, I would not have been able to pick myself up. I would not have been able to, I don't know what I would have done, but I don't think I would have been able to keep Irie. And that's terrifying to me. That's a nightmare. In any case, I go to the ER after work on Tuesday because it started getting real bad after work, like towards the end of the day. Like, I was like, something. Nah, I was like, let me go to urgent care. But then I'm like, nah, dude, I might as well just go to the hospital. Because if this is a heart thing, I know young black men. And it's funny because my primary care doctor was kind of just nonchalantly joking with me about it. That, 30 years old, not having a heart attack. Because in December I had felt some chest pain. But we thought it was indigestion. Thought it was heartburn. Well, that stayed in the back of my mind. And maybe that little seed planted something subconsciously. Who knows? But I will be describing throughout this episode what led up to me having a heart attack at 30 years old. See, because on January 28th, I drove myself to the hospital. I got an EKG. They took my blood. I waited around in the ER for about 2 hours. I went up to the lady by the front door at the little kiosk. I said, hey, this is my name. I've been here for about 2 hours. I don't think anything's wrong. Nobody's come to get me. I think I'm okay. Obviously, the EKG came back normal, or else, I would be back there. So I got to get my dog out. I got to, And so she was like, okay, well, we'll call you if anything comes up. I was not even home yet when she called me and she said, you need to come back to the ER right now. I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to drop my dog off at home and I'm going to come right back. I come to drop off my pup while I'm having a heart attack. I know what's happening. At that point, And I don't know if y'all keep up with Grey's Anatomy, but I'm diehard Grey's. I'm on that Facebook fan page. I don't stay on it like that, but I just joined. I'm like an old guy with Facebook. In any case, when Miranda has her heart attack, for the whole front of the episode, you really don't know what's going on, but she knows. And she's hustling and bustling. She's bobbing and weaving. She gets to that hospital. She said, I'm a doctor and I'm having a heart attack. Like, that's how I felt. That's how I was driving. I dropped Irie off. I made sure he was okay. Fed, ate, peed, pooped. Because at that point, I did not know when I was coming back. And we had a very solemn goodbye. Because, I was scared. And I did the whole Alicia Keys thing. Baby, won't you hold me like this is the last time, and promise that you'll kiss me like you'll never see me again. Whoa, whoa. Like, I was holding him like that. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I had to let him go. I had to trust God. I had to trust that I'm going to make it through this. You're going to be all right. Something's going to come through. We're going to make sure you get walk. We're going to make sure you're not shut up in this apartment by yourself. Everything started coming into question. Who am I going to call? Who's going to walk him? Who's my support system? What is going on? But one foot in front of the other, I had to get back to the ER. They waste no time. They rushed me right back. At that point, everybody was in there for like coronavirus. Like, everyone had masks on. They had people with those symptoms, like flu-like symptoms, on one side of the waiting room. people like me on the other. A lot of us weren't wearing masks. That second time I went in, she was like, come with me. And they got me a room in the ER immediately, hooked me up. The nurse was very nice, got me disrobed, and I just knew, could kind of hear the nurses talking, that I was being admitted. And then this very handsome, tall, blonde, blue-eyed, Viking, Nordic looking, just, ooh, slice of vanilla cake came in wearing blue scrubs with some blue medical icing on top. And I kept things, I had to keep things light because I have anxiety attacks and I've had panic attacks. So I don't want to have a panic attack while I'm having a heart attack. So I'm going to keep things really jovial and make fun out of this whole situation. And he was very kind of put off at, because he was very serious, like pulled up a chair. He's like, you're 30 years old. Asking me about drug use and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, nothing in the last 30 days. Like, I'll guarantee you that. Like, Christmas might have got a little crazy. This summer might have got a little crazy. But he's like, yeah, that wouldn't really, I mean, it could, contribute. But for what you're experiencing was a myocardial infarction. So he explained to me that I was getting admitted. And I saw over the course of 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days, 3 nights. Sound familiar? I saw over the course of those 3 days several doctors, one main cardiologist, but I got exposed to the healthcare system here. I got exposed. I don't want to be in hospitals. I don't want to be admitted. And deep down, I'll be honest, I do like playing the victim. I can play the victim like nobody's business. And sometimes I used to work so hard, working 2 jobs. Like when I broke my leg, I was like, yes! Yes, I broke my leg. I'm off for the summer. Even though that was very difficult. Because when you're home alone with a broken leg and you got that cast on, and it's like you're 1 month in and you fall down the stairs and nobody's home. Or you try to make some food and you're carrying it back to the living room and you're trying to be creative and you got bags and you slip and fall and nobody's there to pick you up. I got what I asked for and I didn't really know what I was asking for. And someone recently taught me, great, one of my new clients, is that you don't know what you don't know. And so thanks to extra resources that help, I get to participate and learn from people with them like that, participate like that. I don't know what I'm saying. In any case, thank God for my family about an hour away, my grandmother and my pastor, my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, because I put that eviction notice that I snatched off my door in my backpack, and I carried my backpack in the hospital, and they came just to visit. They hadn't been there for about 5 minutes. And I said, well, I got to ask you to do something for me. We got to reply to this unlawful detainer. So from the hospital, I filled out the paperwork and answered this eviction notice. My grandmother went to the courts. She went to the city hall. She did what needed to be done for me and my great aunt, and I'm very grateful for that. Because had they not, I wasn't able to leave the hospital. I mean, they were like, you cannot leave. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I have to respond to this. Like, and I don't know if I can do that not in person. Can they do it for me? And just that love, that sacrifice, it really didn't register until late. Because I was in a pretty dissociative state when I was admitted. I really didn't I didn't believe that I was dying. I didn't believe I was near death. Spiritually, I did not sense death. I know I have a great radar for spiritual beings, essences, energies, seasons, intercessory type stuff, clairvoyancy, maybe even a little mediumship. I don't know. But death was just so far removed that I was able to keep things light with myself. I had to enjoy the TV that was in there. I had to get over the fact that, and being next to other people with nothing but a curtain between you, Like the one man, for the first couple of nights, he kept telling him to reach out to his son. And when he left, the lady said, "Yeah, I called his son, but he just hung up." And that guy was like in rehab, and I guess he had fallen, an older guy. And it's like, I don't want to be like that. Like, I want to have people around me that want to be around me when I'm older. I don't want to burn bridges. But my heart went out to him because I don't know I don't know what he's done. He could have gone to prison for murdering people. I have no idea, and you never know. So I stopped giving people the benefit of the doubt. But I do give their essence, their chance at life, the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so I was kind of reeling. Thank God for my homie Eric, who came by the hospital, grabbed my keys, and took care of Irie while I was in there. And thank goodness for my Simply Safe camera. I was able to talk to Irie, and with my Alexa and Echo Dot, I played music for him. And, Eric turned on some movies in between walks. And I was able to watch him. Even though he didn't see me, I saw him. And it sounds like another relationship in my life, if you know what I mean. So, by the time I left, after 2 stress tests, nuclear, another stress test, an echogram, ultrasounds, blood tests, blood being taken out my arms, like I walked out that hospital looking like a shot up heroin junkie because all my veins had been utilized to take blood every 3 hours to get 2 IVs in me. I was walking around all patched up with all these wires with a handheld EKG in my front pocket of my gown to monitor my heart the whole time I was there, because that's how on the verge I was of entering a massive cardiac attack, arrest. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. And I wanted to seek answers. I wanted to know, why is this happening? But I knew why it was happening. And it really wasn't up to me. It's not up to me to convince everybody why and how I knew. But stay tuned, keep listening, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what led up, what caused this defect that is reversible, thank God, and is being reversed as we speak. Because I could beat myself up for not recording in the hospital, not letting you all listen to the beeps on the heart monitor and the blood pressure machine and the little banter between me and the nurses. But I did not, even if I never posted it or broadcast it, or I did not want that to be the last sounds on my phone. I didn't want that energy, because I knew I was not in a dying place, a crushing place. Maybe I was being crushed like a grape. Y'all can thank your boy T.D. Jakes for that analogy. I still need to get his new book. Maybe he'll send me a signed copy. Holla at your boy. Because a brother is facing some mountains in many regards. But now I'm grateful that my heart was absolutely broken. I am so grateful that I literally got to experience hope. I got to practice faith. I got to experience love. And it all came from what I've heard. There was really no justifiable thing I've witnessed before that could explain why I wanted more for myself, why I didn't give up and accept my fate, and how the oxymoron is me not giving up, me being strong, was actually me calming down. It was me being serene. It was me finding tranquility in the midst of a medical storm going on inside of me. Yeah, everything on the exterior looks great. I mean, doctors coming up to me like, "What are you? You're here? You look great." Yeah, well, buddy, looking great doesn't protect you from the harms of life, from the pain, from the stress. Looking great on the outside does not mean my inside is looking even comparable. It's on the whole other side. That's a whole nother department of the store, sir. You're going to have to take the tram. Like, so my strength wasn't being calm. It wasn't being meek. Anything to maintain a low blood pressure. And that's opposite of how I normally would think to project strength. But strength is not necessarily shown by the brawniest guy at the gym, maxing out. Strength is when the morbidly obese guy picks up those 2 or 5 pound weights and just starts lifting them for the first time. Strength is when that guy comes back to the gym day after day, week after week, and even though he still looks the same, his insides are not feeling the same. He's feeling good. You still see the big guy. You still see his weakness. I see the strength. Someone sees that strength because I know what it's like to be that guy. And the strength was coming out of my vulnerability. The strength was coming out of my fear. Yeah, I know I'm fat. Yeah, I know I'm overweight. Yeah, I know my forearms are skinny. Yeah, I know I got man boobs. Yeah, I know I got a double chin. Yeah, I got gray hair. And I know you're in here with your bros, but I'm wearing an oversized t-shirt and these shorts I just got from Kmart or the Goodwill because I just had to buy an XL or a 2XL or a 3XL or a 4XL. But you know what? That strength comes out of that fear. And it's crazy. That discipline, that obedience, that humility. I had to humble myself. It's when a struggling alcoholic picks up that 1-ton phone and calls somebody for help. There is a sustainable, radical, eternal strength in exercising weakness. I'm not saying be weak. I'm saying exercise it, stretch it, challenge it. Because if it's challenging me, there's something about me that needs to go ahead and challenge it, to challenge that fear, to challenge that weakness. I didn't know that, but I knew what I had to get creative. And that's the best part about being a creative person. You get yourself out of little binds like this, little binds that are big binds. Like, whoo, you telling me my insides are firing off? How do I handle this? What do I know? Okay, my blood pressure is off the charts. Calm down. Calm down. Ain't no drug going to be able to do it. If your mind is not in tune with your body, your hormones are going to splurge out cortisol. Your arteries are going to stricken. Your face is going to get flushed. And you're going to get scared. And you're going to start revving up. And for me, something I think about 2 hours ago could rev me up and hit full terminal velocity 2-3 a day later. And that is what this heartbreak, this heart attack was. It had reached its apex, the pinnacle of my stress factor. I think it had been hit before that. And the fallout, I was just now feeling it through my body because my mind saw it. But my spirit is like, oh, we're going to live. We're going to be okay. My body was like, what the? Like there were days I called out from work. I couldn't get out the bed. Not from depression because I'm shaking. Not from DTs because I'm scared. See, there is a term to describe the condition of the mind being dislocated from the spirit. And in that same condition, the spirit dislocated from the body. And in that same condition, the body dislocated from the mind alike. That condition we've all come to know as anxiety. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. Because guys, we need to talk. Today, I'll describe the past few months and that you haven't heard about what life is like here in 2020. As a 30-year-old, sexually open male who believes Jesus Christ is a real man that ascended on a cloud after his resurrection. Yeah, go figure. It's a gay, Jewish, German, half Negroid, half Klansman with a chip on his heel and the weight of the world on his broad shoulders. Welcome to the second episode of the second season of The Rhetorical Sake. Today, I'm talking about the heartbreaks of the have-nots. Stay tuned. So, this all began right after the summer, and it was towards the end of summer. Random people started showing up outside of my apartment complex at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Taking Irie for his first walk, still got crud in my eye, no coffee, and I opened up the gate. There's like 10 of us that live in this little apartment complex, and these like Swedish people are like, the first time they're like, yeah, we're here to tour the property. Do you mind if we go on in? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I let them go in. And then other people start showing up. And I started saying no. And then I saw my landlord, and I'm like, hey, is the building for sale? Because someone at my job actually told me he's way too invested in, I don't know. Maybe he's not too invested. I should stop hating on him. That's my judgment. Because what I don't like about him is something I don't like about myself. Hello. Anywho, I'm actually jealous that he's so invested in what's going on in this town. But it's a little off-putting when you throw it in everyone's faces. In any case, September 18th, I exit my vehicle at around 8 o'clock at night, and I pop the hatchback of my SUV to get Irie, my half pit bull, half Staffordshire bull terrier that weighs about 49 pounds. Well, I don't know. We can't ever get a good weight on him at the vet because he doesn't want to know how to sit still on the scale. But I think he knows that dogs past have been on that scale. He's very perceptive. In any case, a older white man in a baseball cap, polo, and shorts comes up from behind me. But before that, I just noticed something out of my peripheral, and the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and I look over my shoulder because I'm wondering if I'm going to have to, hip check this guy or do a takedown or something I learned from wrestling or what. But he asked me one time to let him in, and then he started demanding for me to let him in to my apartment complex under my volition. And I was like, nah, dude, like, it's nighttime, like, people are home, we're having dinner and stuff, like, I don't know you. And he's like, I just drove from Orange County, you're an idiot, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, oh, definitely not. And so he gets in his car, swings the door way open, scratches my car, but I didn't hear anything. But I think it's because I was rummaging around in my pocket and I started taking pictures, and I wanted to take a video, but I said, let me just take pictures or whatever. He's yelling at me. He backs out. I was tempted to just stand behind his car and call the cops. I couldn't tell if he was drunk or I was like, I don't know. Because when I wasn't drinking at the time, so I was like, maybe he's not drunk or he had a drink or maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But smelling alcohol in somebody else, it's like, I don't know. So before he gets in his car, though, he gets in between me and Irie. Because I don't have Irie's leash on him. He's still sitting in the car. I'm at my open trunk. And he wedges himself between me and the trunk. Now, if I were to just stood there, he would have pushed me. I, not wanting to get into this altercation, not wanting to get the cops called, me versus a white guy from Orange County. I don't see this ending well 8 o'clock at night. Ain't a lot of street lights out here. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just going to my car. I'm just going to my car. And I knew what he was doing. He wanted me to fuck him up. That's what he wanted me to do. But I didn't. I held back. I was tempted to call the cops. He tried to pull out. He kept apologizing, then going back on his word, calling me an idiot. And I was trying to explain. I was like, dude, if you get hurt here, you're under my renter's insurance and things like that, blah, blah, blah. So what ends up happening is I email my landlord at the time. And I let her know, hey, I showed her the pictures. I'm like, strangers are constantly coming here. And now this is just out of hand. And this guy did this and that. Well, 2 months later, I still have a month and a half left in my lease. I get an email saying I need to turn in my keys. I'd probably just posted the last episode of this first season of this podcast. And hang on one second, because I hope you did not turn off the Wi-Fi. I mean, that's just gonna, okay, no. I don't know what my echo's tripping for. Okay, we're gonna explain everything. So, old landlord sends me an email. It's like, you got 2 weeks to turn in your keys. The property's been bought. And I'm like, what? I don't even think I replied initially. And then she sends me an email. She's like, your final inspection is going to be tomorrow. Here's a 24-hour notice. So while I'm at work, and I took Irie to work with me, I had to start doing that because I didn't trust. Something just gave me bad vibes. Like, don't leave him home alone. Don't leave him here. Not with the way these people are acting. Because I would ask my old landlord face to face whenever I saw her here, like, hey, do I need to be worried about moving? And she'd be like, no, this is your home. Like, I will let you know. And if it doesn't happen next week, that was in like September, then it'd probably just have to wait till next season and all this stuff. Well, I guess they did the sale, and it sounds like in order to complete the sale, I was supposed to get kicked out. I wasn't part of the deal. That was a contingency. Well, all my other neighbors, they're like, yeah, we know, but we're not getting evicted. Like, even our lease is expired, and they just rolled over to month. So now, me being the only black person here, I realize I'm being discriminated against. Vigorously. Blatantly. Apparently. So, this old landlord, thank goodness for my Simply Safe camera and alarm system, I'm talking to a client at work. I start getting these alerts on my phone. I knew. It was like 10:50. Mind you, she said the inspection was at 11. This is how she be doing. Cues my alarm. Police get called. About 3-4 weeks later, I get a bill in the mail from the police department for a false alarm. Because I had already had one, so they give you like two, because you have to have a permit where I live to have an alarm system like this. Because after dealing with a stalker in Hollywood and being harassed and cyber stalked, we're geared up. We're queued up to the nines. I think we got about 5 cameras over this joint. I ain't going to mention no weapons, but I know I got some panic buttons hidden, and I got some motion detectors. So it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time just to be home and you know you're safe. And if anything happens, you know you'll end up at least on 2020 because all the evidence is right there. So we roll in, and she clearly realizes I have not boxed up anything. She showed up November 26th. Cops get called. My apartment, I just left it be. So clearly I have no intention on moving. I go to City Hall prior to this, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, well, the state of California actually is enacting a ban on unlawful or no-fault evictions. So if I paid my rent, I didn't break my lease, didn't break the contract on my end, landlords in 2020 won't actually be able to evict you for no reason. Now, the city I live did an emergency junction and enacted it in October. So no-fault evictions were banned. AB 1482 is what the assembly bill is called. And I try to explain this to my landlord about a week before, it was a week before November 26th, because that's when she wanted me to turn in my keys. Well, first of all, that's a month and a half before my lease technically ends. But she uploaded some document, and this is why you always get a paper copy of your lease that you sign the day that you sign it. Do not trust them to mail it to you. You get a copy of the exact document that day. Because what she uploaded had changed the end date to a 12-month lease to end a month and a half early. Made no sense whatsoever. And I know I would not have signed no 12-month lease for 11 months, or 10 and a half months. So, regardless, I approached her, I think it was a Friday or Saturday morning, and I had brought Irie back from a walk, and then I was going to go on a run, because he this asphalt, I don't know, but I'm not going to run my dog 4 miles a day or something like that. But I was feeling good. So I said, okay, well, it's a good thing they're here. We need to talk about this. Let's do it. I don't really like conflict. So I approach her and her husband and their little kid, who I think is a they, from what my neighbors tell me, which is great. That's fine. But the thing about it is, I don't think people actually, especially people in the LGBTQ community, I think they don't understand that we're hurting each other with these micro doses of bigotry and discrimination. Because you might be gay and white, but you have no idea what it's like to be gay and black. No one knows the discrimination or the bias or the prejudice I get from being gay and black. I mean, the people will blatantly tell you, why would I sleep with a fat nigger? You know, okay, you're not attracted to overweight people. I'm not even that overweight. I'm like 30% body. I don't know. Like, I'm probably down to 27 right now. I'll give it 28. But that, was just very apparent to me. So I actually never really dove into gay bars and nightclubs and things like that, because I had initially already felt like an outcast. That's some people. It's like some people see me and they're like, yeah, dude, nice breasts. Go out of their way to try to be trolls online if I take a shirtless pic or something. And you know what? There's other people, and they're like, I take off my shirt when we're hooking up, and they're like, this is what I want. And they just dive right into my chest, and they're just loving on it. And it's something I used to think I had to be ashamed of as a kid. And I don't. So whatever somebody hates about you or can't stand about you, one, they can't stand it about themselves. Or two, they probably like you and can't admit it, and they really want it, but they think it's like taboo or something. Love yourself, honey, from the inside out. And I mean that sincerely, from the heart. I literally mean that. In any case, I asked her nicely to extend. I said, I'm looking for new places, but it came to light that my credit score has taken a hit, and my debt that I thought was absolved had increased. And things from 2018, after getting hit by that drunk driver, were starting to catch up with me. However, the mail hadn't been forwarded to me here. So when I got my credit tapped, I was like, oh, these people were coming back to me like, I thought you were a solid guy, you have great personable skills, but your credit score. And I'm like, wait, give me that? And I'm like, what? So I got to deal with that, which is going to be a months-long process, disputing this, disputing that, identity fraud, blah, 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 blah. So what ends up happening? She goes into this tirade, because I basically tell her, I'm not going to be out next week. There's absolutely no way. I have nowhere to go. And this is illegal. You can't do this. This is not what I want. This is not what I want. She starts screaming at me while her pussy-ass husband sat in the car while his wife handled the business. Not saying women can't hold it down, but if you're going to act emotional like that about some logical stuff, nah, homie. About the law, I told her, I was like, you're not ready for this conversation. I said, the next time we need to talk, it needs to be between your attorney and mine, but you can't handle this. This isn't what I want. It's not about what you want. This is about the law, is exactly what I told her. I said, I'm going to exercise my rights. She said, what rights? Follow me around the complex, because I was going on that run before I had to go to work. Let me tell you what, I was going on my run. And especially after that, y'all did not want me to roll up at work, with all that testosterone and energy and heat. I had to run that thing on out. She said, what rights? I said, my renter's rights. And I said, I'm going to exercise every single one of them. Now, I just did my best not to curse when I was speaking to her. I did not want to give her that. And I didn't know the limits of threatening people. But she said, well, maybe I'll just have my big rich friend from Orange County come squash you like a little bug. Oh. You know what? Thank you for threatening me. And thank you for calling me a little bug. Because they called David the same thing. And see, this Goliath, these white guys and their Jaguars keep showing up in my life from Orange County, drunk, belligerent, and making me suffer for it and making me pay for it. That same giant keeps poking its head out. Honey, I was just coming here to make sandwiches. I just came to this town to make sandwiches. I was just trying to feed my brothers. But you done brought this giant out here to mock me? I may not have a lot, but I got this stone and this sling. I got this podcast and this phone. I don't even have a desktop right now. I'm doing this old school. I'm doing this like when the show first started, because we're going rogue. I'm going to work with what I got. I'm going to throw my rod down and watch it turn into a snake. You got to use what's in your hand. If that's what you know, if that's what you got, if that's what you've been given, if that's your privilege, even if other people don't see it as privilege, your talent, they don't understand it, they don't get it, that's fine. But let me tell you something. I know this so well that if I take one shot at this giant that keeps poking its head out when I was just trying to do my job, when I was just tending to my sheep, when I was just making sandwiches. See, you rolled up on the wrong little one. I'm the little bug. She said it as if I was an infestation, as if they wanted to exterminate me. I said, go ahead and try. I started to put my headphones on and walk out that front gate. I'm not done talking to you. I'm not done talking to you. I turned around. I said, I am not your child. And by that point, I was standing right behind her husband in the car with it running. I said, I am not your child, and you will not speak to me like that. I'm going on a run. Have a nice day. Ooh, and I ran. I had on my tight Under Armour shirt, too, the long sleeve one, with some black sweats. I was looking like Black Panther. I loved it. But I love standing up for myself. It's something I really had done for other causes or like fake causes or speech competitions. But now I needed it. My rhetoric and communication, it's an endangered species. I think transcendent wise? Existentially. Yes. Something like that. Postmodern. Dolly. Get with it. Well, she forced the final inspection. Didn't work. I hadn't moved out. Cued my alarm. Police got called. She shuts down the website I had paid my rent on for 11 months at that point. Or 10 months and a half. No, 11. Yeah, it would have been 11 months. So, come December, I'm like waiting. December 5th, come home. There's no power. And none of my neighbors, there was like, nobody was home. It was like everyone got the memo that they're shutting off the power tonight. So I called the electricity company. And they said, yeah, your old landlord, they said her name, she cut it off. I said, she deliberately shut it off? Like, yeah. I said, can I turn it on? They said, sure. I said, so put it in my name. I put the electric bill for this whole $2 million complex in my name. Well, I don't know if it worked. It was really cold that night. Me and Irie, we reached out to people, but we also had to save our cell phone life. And I said, if it gets too cold, then we'll just go sleep in the car. And at some point, we had just curled up in the bathroom because it's a smaller room and we could just consolidate the heat in there. And we were shivering, and it was after midnight. And then I just heard everything come back on. The lights came on, and I cried and I moaned out to God in praise because I was so grateful. And I didn't know what else to do. What else do you do? You gotta cry out. You gotta thank God when things like that happen, because there's really that was way bigger than me, and I thought that I was gonna have to put down, because they're like, yeah, we'll contact you in a few days for a deposit. We can get it turned on tonight. Quick little smoke break right here. Just to loosen up the gears. Yeah. But what I didn't know at that point, if a landlord does that, you can sue them. because that is it's like them changing the locks on you because they want to evict you. It's a lockout. All that's illegal. That retaliation, changing the Wi-Fi, turning off the Wi-Fi, changing the password, anything like that. Plumbing, sewage, maintenance, they still have to treat you accordingly. At least in the state of California where I'm at. Shoot. So I pay rent to this new company because after the cops get called and call the old landlord, call them, leave messages, lo and behold, later on in the evening, the power gets turned on. I get a welcome email from the new property management company that has got thousands of properties across Southern California, and for some reason they can't offer me another one, and they just want me to leave. But I pay my rent on their online portal. I do that. Then I work. I go back to work. I know things are stressful. The property manager, brunette lady, she's like casually insulting, and we're trying to work out an agreement because they want me out by January 5th. I said, yeah, 30,000. And they're like, the client rejects that offer. I'm like, you just paid $2 million for this building. Why you can't throw me 30 to move and start my life over because you want to snap your fingers? Like, we'll offer you a month free in January if you're out by the 31st. So, why am I having nightmares on the night of the 26th going into the 27th? Why is my chest hurting on the 27th? Why did I leave the ER? And a few days before that, show up to an eviction notice. Because at first they sent a 3-day. And the 3-day notice they did around January 20th. Because I got that 3-day notice and I was like, this ain't a pink slip. And I'm definitely not moving out in 3 days. And I have proof in writing. You told me January was free if I could be out by the 31st. And I've been trying. Like, I was like, I could be out by the 31st just so I don't have to deal with this. I have a good job. I'd rather move closer to work and Irie could have some more room. Whatever. But this is when I stopped. So from the end of December through January 8th, I was texting her like, can you, because they locked the online portal. So when I would log into the website to pay my rent how I did in December, they just locked me out. It would say you owe $1,000 for your rent. I'd go to pay. It's like, you don't have access to pay. I had access last month. I'm texting the property manager, hey, can you open this up so I can pay my rent? We agreed that you would be out by the 5th. Your lease was terminated. That's funny because all the white people living here, none of their leases are terminated. None of them are being given 3 days or 2 weeks. They're all like, yeah, they said it was going to be under construction in March, so maybe we'll be out of here at the end of March. Well, why am I getting kicked out so soon? I paid my rent on time. Then the girl Lori that on the last episode, she told me that the old landlord, it wasn't her fault. It was like the 17th of November, and she's like, yeah, I haven't even paid my rent yet. She said, don't worry about it. And I called the old landlord out when we got into it a week before the 26th. I said, are you collecting late fees on everybody? She said, yes, that's an automatic charge on the website. I said, okay, are you collecting rent on time from everybody? Or is it just me that you're trying to muscle up on? Yeah, honey, that's discrimination. It hurts. I didn't know how much it hurt. I was just angry. But I think a part of me also, a falsehood died, contributing to what's been holding me back. And I've been scared of this world in many, many ways. But now that I've reached 30, it's this human adulthood. Because I just feel like we're all big little toddlers running around this daycare called Earth. And some of us are potty trained. Some of us aren't. Some of us are addicted to apple juice. Some of us like pineapple juice. Some of us don't share our toys. Some of us just walk up and snatch toys from each other. Some of us don't have a mommy at home. Some of us, our dad beats us. Some of us, are dealing with different things. But we're all just these kids. And then we get all these responsibilities. And we get smarter and we memorize stuff that other people have regurgitated over the centuries and decades, and we call ourselves intelligent because we can repeat it on paper. That's me. But on January 11th, it was Iries. You're 6 now. Oh, geez, you're 6. Oh, yeah, because you're like, This Is Us, 36. This is your year, buddy. Well, it might be a tough one because that show is not that uplifting. It's like good and bad. And so that's life. But anyway, I returned 6. He's 36 years old. And, well, I say his dog years. I know, it's supposed to be times 7. What's 6 times 7? 42? You're not 42. You're not halfway there. You're still my age. You're 30 like me. Wait, are you 30? I think your dog years are 5, and that's why I was like, oh, snap, we're the same age again. Yeah. Anyway, he's sitting up here getting his belly rubbed while I record this. So, I wanted to have a great day with him, but something wasn't right. And something told me, leave him at home, go run errands. We'll worry about going to the park later because it is a Saturday. So Saturday morning is not going to be great to go to the public park because they're doing soccer games and all these people, blah, blah, blah. Not even a mile away from my house, I hear this loud pop. And then my front right tire is doo doo doo, and the wheel dismantles from my car, and I literally veer into a gas station. Thank goodness I didn't veer the other way into oncoming traffic. And the mechanic, he's like, I just rolling up to the back of the shop. And he's like, come over here. So he goes to the healthy wheel. And he's like, count those lug nuts. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's like, all right, come over here. 1. The wheel that had dismantled, it was because 4 lug nuts were missing from a car I just bought last year. I said, do you think this just happens randomly? He's like, not unless the last person that worked with the wheel forgot to do something to, like, finish it off right. He's like, and even the pros can do that. He's like, but all 4? And I'm like, yeah, do you think somebody could have done this? He's like, you got any enemies? So I was in disbelief. And once again, I go into this, it's almost like the Joker. Like, I keep everything light at the moment of, dang, I do that a lot. At the moment of great distress or like bad news, or because I have to, or else it could consume me. And I thought that I understood my anxiety enough, but maybe suppressing that initial shock is hindering me. And that's a good thing to learn about myself right now. Because I was just making jokes about it and taking pictures, obviously. But what it costs to get, because I kept saying the tire, he's like, he had to stop me. He's like, it is not your tire. It is the wheel. It's actually the functionality of the vehicle, not just the rubber piece around it. The brake was damaged from this. Like, I spent more on that car repair than I would have for a month and a half of rent. And so it didn't set me back to where I was like, oh, shoot, I'm broke. But it set me back enough to where I was angry. I was hurt. I just wanted to enjoy my dog's birthday. And now you're telling me someone just took a strike at my life? And not only at my life, they did it at the expense of the public. And the burden of proof is on me. However, given these series of interesting events and confrontations and decisions made without my agreement, it's kind of hard to infer that this was not the new or the old landlord. Recently, I saw Aquaman, and Aquaman, the whole Justice League, was a franchise. It is a franchise of movies that I pursued rigorously as a vendor of cameras, of these high-end cameras. I mean, Alexas, Dragons, Sony, whatever. At every movie, TV show, I have played a big part in productions. And it's like the stitching on the inside of a shirt. No one else noticed. No one knows if it's a cross stitch or if it's like zigzag or if it's straight. They just see the outside. But I was that thread. So I know that. And I got a script in development right now with my boy that used to work with me, my best friend, Ali. Y'all know Ali. Psychedelics, episode 14, baby, season 1. You know what it is. Psychedelics, get with it, get lost, homie. And I'm really glad you guys appreciate those episodes. But, and there's something I want to talk to Ali about too, is these places of darkness and heartbreak. Because when there's no light and you can't see where you're at, you're blind. Not because your eyes don't work, but they don't work in the dark. They don't know how to see the light at that depth. See, Aquaman had a very interesting metaphor in the fact that he was shown, because you lived on Earth, your eyes have not adjusted to the fluorescence of the deep ocean. So when I dip into the bottom, when I'm taken under and I can't breathe and I'm in a whole new environment with a bunch of monsters that are way different than me. They ain't never thought about me, but I'm here. And one of them, two of them maybe, have drugged me to this depth. Or maybe I did it myself. Maybe I tied a rock and a chain and jumped in the ocean. I'm not going to do that. But when his eyes changed, Aquaman's, Jason Momoa, his eyes had to change in order for him to see the fluorescence. There's an adaptation that has to happen in the darkness, in the depth of the abyss. See, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Valleys don't just exist on land. There's huge craters in the ocean. Huge. And the shadow of death, it can be filled teeming with life. A shadow is just an apparition. It's just a projection. It's not the real thing. It's just the way the light hits it. But if you can start to realize that there's other things down there that survived, and they're beautiful. They're glowing. It's not just about shining anymore. This is about glowing. Politically, spiritually, mentally, physically. There's something about a glow. Even when it's light outside, you can hew a glow. There's something about Times Square because it glows during the day. There's something about a pregnant woman because she glows, lights on or off. It's an essence. It's an energy. It's evidence of something very impactful, very charismatic, very nurturing, very us, very connected. And by us, I don't just mean humans. There's a glow in Irie. There's a bond between us. I know that most of you may not be religious. I hope many of you are spiritual. So your ears won't be deafened to me mentioning the allegory of Jonah. And how in his running from God's instructions, God took him. Well, God sent a fish, and the fish swallowed him and took him to the depths. How could a man survive in the mouth of a great fish, maybe not a whale, maybe a whale, for 3 days, 3 nights? Maybe in that darkness, he saw a shimmer glowing in the bristly teeth of this great beast, the plankton, and their fluorescent lights like lightning bugs. And the longer he stayed down there, the brighter those fluorescent lights shone to him and revealed themselves, the more he adapted. And with that adaptation, knowing this isn't where he would belong, that he would never glow like that because he wasn't made to stay in the dark. He wasn't made to be digested by this fish. He was not made to be that deep under the ocean. And yet he was there. Heartbreak Hotel. It's time to check out. See, because night 3, by day 3, am I still kicking? Am I still alive? Oh yeah, then you got to let me out. I got to get out of this fish. I got to get out of this hospital. I got to go do some things. I got a life to live. My life just became very precious and very short in a small amount of time. So the one thing I'm not going to do is leave this earth without the oil of my passion soaking into the soil. And that's been given me through the grace of God. That's been given me through faith. That has been given to me. And all I could do, I can't spend it on cars. I can't spend it on more dogs. I could. But our food, all this consuming, capitalistic, hedonistic lifestyle that it's so promoted everywhere. I'm here. I'm in it. And I don't understand. I have everything I need. What's with the emptiness? Do I have everything I need? You could have everything you need, but not have every one that you need. Not have the only one that you need. You could have everything that you need and not have yourself. That's Heartbreak Hotel. And not even see it. Your mind doesn't see it. Your spirit can let it slide, because your spirit, that's from heaven. It knows where it's going in the end, baby. That's like groovy. But your body, See, I internalize things. Gray hair since I was 13 years old. What happened a year before I got my first gray hair? 9/11. Uncle gets murdered. Have to move away from my mother, my single parent I've lived with for 12 years, almost 13 years of count when I was in the womb. Start getting gray hair. I succeed. I play sports. I go to school, get into a little drama. And then my hair just starts filling out gray throughout high school, filling out gray throughout college. And I had to accept it. But I realized I internalize so much stress. And it's rather unhealthy. I need to align my mind to deal with what is antagonizing me. What's antagonizing my body. See, and if I can't, it almost didn't make sense, because I'm like, how are these external things that you can't really bottle up, you can't wait. I can't really put a weight. I can't put this eviction situation on a scale and weigh it, pesante. But it's affecting my physical nature. It broke my heart. And my heart has been broken before. Literally. I had a bad breakup. I got dumped. You guys. Oh boy. I got dumped by my best friend of 11 years who wanted to start dating. This was not my idea. By his mother. It took me a while. It took a while for it to hit when it happened too, because she did it in Walmart, right by the CDs. And I said, she said, he's not gay. He doesn't love you. He is not gay. He is not in love with you. Okay, I gotta go to the men's department. I think there's a shirt over there. And I literally stood in between those racks and had to breathe. And it took a few days, it took a week of just going to that, making everything a joke, be lighthearted, until his sister That girl is a psycho. Um, like, they're not even worth this show's time. I mean, they are. I tried to call them over Christmas and he didn't answer because at this point, I think I called a lot of people over Christmas break because I was like, fuck this. Like, next year's not promised, the way the world's going, blah, 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 but something in me. And then lo and behold, I have a heart attack. And so I think maybe I did. I think there was something in me, a piece to me that kind of knew you could be facing death soon. So it might be time to say goodbye. So I just wasn't that fearful. And I called people and very few people picked up. But the ones that picked up, oh man, like my old substitute teacher, he was walking into dinner with his partner. They're gay and they have all these kids and now they have grandkids. And the girl that used to live down the street from me, a neighbor, my mom loved her, even though I got arrested because she was in my car and I didn't have a license. My mom never hated her for that. Like, she was like, oh, I love her. I'm like, I just got put in jail. And she was with me. And I was like, yeah, she's great. So, yeah. Heartbreak Hotel. The thing is, it's really not the hotel. It's really not even the room, the chamber. It's what's happening inside of it. When you put that key in the slot and you take that risk of staying somewhere, you also take the risk of it kind of staying you. But the good thing about heartbreak is that it's never forever. It's Heartbreak Hotel for a reason. Hotels are temporary stays. You check in, you check out. It could be a beautiful time and maybe you don't spend too much time locked away. Maybe you're like me and you do. Because some things outside tend to scare you. When every few years when you walk out the door and you're breaking a leg or you're getting rear-ended by a drunk driver or even getting assaulted or beat in the face by a former best friend or broken up with at Walmart by someone you love's brother. Or no, not their brother, their mother, even worse. And they kick you out the house and you're homeless. I ended up in a hospital. And they're wondering why my blood pressure was off the charts. They said, what's wrong? 11 years. 11 years. I'm an only child. Estranged from my father. Relationships. Things used to really be what I valued. I thought defined me, made me. It took a fire. It took a fire to burn down my childhood toy, my teddy bear, my Winston, little big beanie baby, bulldog. He died in a fire down the street from the Staples Center in Harvard Heights, 2014, along with the rest of my stuff, graduation diploma, journals. It's just a pile of rubble behind this old 100-year-old house. So that was a harsh lesson. But to lose relationship, to lose rapport with someone you genuinely have always cared about, some idea, some passion, something, some career. Y'all know it's happening to me over and over. But I'm still here. I'm still here. And that's just it. Yeah, I got to take a lot of medication now. I'm going on runs every day. Just running, not overdoing it. No pre-workout, nothing like that. I'm cutting back on the salt. I'm trying not to drink, but you know what? I'm going to be honest. You have a heart attack, your days become real numbered. And I know, it's not the healthiest, Eric. I lived in Italy for a year. Man, red wine at around 6:30. You're watching that sun drop, the moon coming up, the mountains and the stars, the ocean. And tomorrow's not promised. I don't even know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I literally don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm going to have a glass of wine. Because all this sitting around in a circle and talking about the same 12 steps, the same book over and over, but I can't say Jesus, that's not my life. That ain't for me. Because let me tell you something. I can set down a glass of wine after Big Little Lies and record a podcast. I can do interview after interview back to back on a Saturday. I'm not saying that doesn't make me an alcoholic. What I'm saying is it's my decision. It's my life. And unless you're going to pay my rent, unless you want to broker a deal with my spirituality, unless you want to broker a deal with my mind, unless you want to heal my body, then I think you need to butt out, buddy. Now, if you want to be in that support system, then we can talk. Then I'll have a little less time to run down to Trader Joe's and get my $2 chuck. Then I'll have a little less time to be thinking about myself. Then I'll have a little less time to even podcast. Because anyone that wants to insert themselves in my life for a positive, to grow each other, to challenge each other, to be there for each other. I used to leave hospitals and cry because no one came to visit me, or only 2 people came to visit me. And then I see people on Instagram, even in college, parents sending kids care packages. What the hell is a care package? My care package was, when I left, they said, take care. That's why you don't get it. If someone tells you take care, you're not getting a care package. That's life. I would have thought that the challenges got easier by now. I thought that I was handling this with grace and dignity and doing what I had to do. My body had no idea what I was doing. My spirit, I had not, during this whole ordeal, strayed away at God or cursed at God. I've cried many mornings in the shower, just total panic attacks, just to get out the door. Anxiety, it's stifling, and I don't think it's just a chemical imbalance. I think it's a spiritual infirmity with physical symptoms and mental illness. And I think the only reason I say mental illness is because there's not a word to hone in on. Your limbic system is firing off. It's telling you to shut down. It's telling your body to shut down. But everyone else in my life is telling me to step up. So where does that come from? So the heart breaks in darkness until I can adjust my vision. And it may not come from sight. It may come from hearing. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing from the Word of God. Or maybe from your friends. Or maybe from your family. Maybe from someone who genuinely cares. And maybe that's why those AA and anonymous meetings are good. Because of the hearing. We're hearing each other. Because we're in the darkness and none of us can see. But I heard there were glowing lights down here. I heard that if I just stay and I stay with it, I might be able to adapt. I heard that I might affect my genetic code. Even the next generation comes out in this darkness. But because I was here, there's some type of adaptation that happens to where their eyes will be more capable of sensing these glowing opportunities, these lights, and learning how to thrive in this mess. See, when you don't see nobody that's done it before, it's hard to see your way out, but that's hope. Man. So no, I don't think I've not ever been in love with a man, mutually, genuine love. I have not been officially evicted yet. I have not died. I have not had a heart attack. I have not stopped trusting God. I have not retreated when these financial giants from Newport Beach came to uproot me. I have not cowered and walked away and packed up my stuff and left because someone snapped their fingers. I have not stopped in that pursuit. See, you break the heart of a person who ain't got it, you break the heart of someone who's gone without. There's something that comes out of that weakness. There's something that comes out of that hurt. There's a strength that spews out. And it's for that reason I have an attorney representing me today. I am so very grateful for each and every moment. But I won't wallow being nostalgic. I want to live in the moment. So, we're checking out of Heartbreak Hotel. And happy Valentine's Day 2020. If you feel alone, you're not. You're just deep in the abyss, and your eyes haven't adjusted to see those beautiful fluorescent creatures. Hang in there, whatever you do. You hang in there, even if it hurts. And if it hurts, that means you're alive. And I hate saying that because I don't like to hurt. Who does? But it's true. Hey, if you're alone on this holiday, you buy yourself some good food. Get there early. Just get it to go, warm it up later, get to your favorite restaurant. You get a good movie on. You throw on some Grey's Anatomy. You watch Parasite. You want to talk about... See, I don't know if I'm the parasite in this whole situation or if the landlord's the parasite. I think that's how the movie is supposed to leave you. And man, the foreshadowing with the stink... Oh, whoops. If you haven't seen Parasite, spoiler alert! The foreshadowing is excellent. The writing is excellent. It deserved every word it got and probably more. And I'm really grateful I actually paid to see that. And wow, round of applause. Because the discussion it brought up, the thoughts it brings up, the mentality about class and human value and life, and emotion, and how dire straits push us to dire means, or they can. Anyway, it's time for me to check out of this hotel, you guys. But I'll be missing you. I'll find a way to get through. 'Cause you were my strength and my pride. Only God may know why. These times. Anyway, I'm out. Love you guys. Heartbreak Hotel, erhunter.live. Earth, ERTH. That's Earth without the A. Put the A at the end with a circle around it. Earth at erhunter.live. Look, I love you guys. IG, The Rhetorical Sake. Twitter, Sake_podcast. Red Eric on IG. God Sent Dogs, Amazon Kindle. Chasing God Alcoholically. Dirt cheap books you could read about me and my life and share your story too. Talk to me, baby. Patreon.com/erhunter. This has been the second episode of The Rhetorical Sake, Season 2. I love you. Massive kiss. Good night. Mwah!